Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games with craft beer. I'm Ben, and I'm here with Lucy.
Hello.
Hello, Lucy.
Hello.
And we have a special guest joining us this week, Mr. Alex Waite. Hello, sir.
Hello, everybody.
Stepping in for Adel, who is off in Canada, being cold, I imagine.
Drinking nice beers, probably.
We're going to drink some nice beers. Let's open some beers. Alex, I'll come to you first. What are you going to drink first this evening?
I'm going to drink the Fine Ales Farm Brewery Beer Life Balance Citrus Grisette, first of all. It's a refreshing orange and lemon farmhouse ale brewed in celebration of international collaboration for the Citizens of Everywhere project. It's a Beer 52 beer that has been sat in my fridge for a while.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, immediately we know that you are qualified to be on this podcast because you have also sold out to the Beer 52 gods.
It's the perfect amount of beer for me in a month. Can't drink when I'm working, but it fits in perfectly to my days off.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. Lucy,
Yes.
what are you going for first?
I am going to drink a beer from Whiplash first. It's their Northern Lights Micro IPA. It is 2.8%, so starting off low. Let's have a look. It's got Vienna malt, oat malt, wheat malt, caramel malt, mosaic, and Vic Secret hops. Yeah, I think they have announced that they're opening up a brewery tap room or something like that. So, yeah, it's time for us to go to Dublin.
Yeah,
I think that
seems like
where they're having a
It's always time to go
New
to
one.
Dublin.
Yeah, I've never been. I want to go. Yeah, after Brexit, they're not going to let us in anyway, so I should go see.
Soft border.
They'll let us buy flights and get there just as soon as we're there. No, sorry, turn around, please leave.
If you go via America, it's fine.
I wonder, I could probably swim it. If there's enough training, I could probably swim.
Fuck, I couldn't do that.
It's not that far.
30 yards out, like.
I don't know. Is it further than the channel?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Okay.
I reckon you could probably swim from South Ayrshire to Northern Ireland and then just walk over the border south.
Okay.
That's my plans anyway.
There'll be people with guns and dogs and passport checks there as well, so I don't know.
Just
That
details.
would be so tiring and cold.
That's true. On to better things. I'm also drinking a beer. Of course. I'm going to be drinking Final Pulse, an IPA from Wylam, which is 6.8%. What has it got in it? Hops, Simcoe Cryo, Centennial T90, and Eldorado T90. Does it say what else? Just says barley, gluten, and wheat as two of the allergens. Doesn't tell me any of the yeast. And that might not obviously be all the malts in there either. Barley and wheat, obviously. So I'm going to crack that one. Alex, we'll come back to you first. How is your beer?
It's good. That's the best I'm giving you. Very, very citrusy.
Yeah.
Quite straw-coloured, even though it doesn't look that straw on the camera.
It's quite hazy.
Yeah, it's definitely hazy. Translucent. There's a lot on the back of the tongue. The sour notes are right there, but it's not enough. I had one, I can't even remember what it was the other day, that was just too sour for me. And this is just the right amount. The lemon is just right at the back.
Because we had the discussion of what a grisette was the first time it popped up. And all I remember was that it's another word for a prostitute in French. I can't remember exactly what. I can't remember exactly what style it was, but yeah. Was it a sour style? It wasn't a sour style, was it? Was it?
I think it might just get the sour from being citrus.
Oh yeah.
That's just. I think it might just be a side effect of it.
Yeah.
Because this is just orange and lemon that's sitting in this, and the lemon you can't really taste it, but you know it's there. The orange you can definitely taste running through all the way.
Is it hoppy?
Not really. It's not jumping out.
Yeah.
It's quite an odd. I think the orange is definitely masking a hell of a lot of flavours there.
Right.
It's hiding a lot. It's really odd. You can't really smell a piney you can taste more pine than you can smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
peculiar, but that's definitely in there. Makes me
Yeah.
think of farms. That's all I'm getting from
Well,
this is farm.
a grisette is actually like a saison, so yeah.
There you
farm.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought, because you mentioned, did you say it was a farmhouse ale and then
It
say
is
Crisette?
that would explain it. Yeah, it's farm brewery, so that would certainly explain it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Good. Is that have you polished off that box from Beer 52?
I have no idea which box this is. They all tend to go in the fridge and get mixed up as I'm moving things around.
That's
That's the way to do it.
I'm sure I've got the associated book kicking about with it somewhere as well, along with the other 1,000 that I've picked up over the time.
Yeah, just in a giant stack somewhere that you've flicked through, just leafed a few pages, and be like, I'll come back to this later.
Definitely, that's a night shift read. That is, and I never do. Yeah.
Nice. Lucy, how is the Whiplash?
It's pretty, like all Whiplash beers.
That's
It's
a
got,
big
like,
head.
Yeah, they often do have like large white foamy heads. Their beers. Yeah, it's pretty much the same color. Well, probably a bit lighter than Alex's. It's very straw, very yellow.
Yeah.
Very murky. Can't see through it at all. In terms of aroma, not really getting much. Getting a little bit of like citrus coming off the hops, but not a lot. But it is 2.8% beer, so
Yeah.
not really expecting it to blow your head off with aroma.
Did they call it a small beer, or is it just
A micro IPA.
Okay.
Yeah, taste wise though, you are getting a lot of like light citrus, like slight lemon, maybe a little bit of mango and passion fruit. Yeah, they've packed a lot of flavour into it, considering it's 2.8%. I think like it's been a trend recently, hasn't it? Like low ABV beers.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if they can get all the flavour of like, I don't know, 4 to 7% IPA in such a low ABV, and yeah, they've done it with this one. It's not as flavourful as other Whiplash beers, because I love Whiplash. I mean, their beers are incredible, like just juicy IPAs. But yeah, so it is pared back a bit slightly compared to their other like beers, but to be expected, it's 2.8%. But yeah, they're getting a lot of flavour in it. It's not too hoppy; it's quite soft as well. So yeah, I'd expect the hops to be a little bit more pushed forward a bit more. But yeah, it's nice. It's really easy drinking.
Yeah.
Especially for 2.8%. You could have I don't know.
It's definitely what you want from a small beer or like a micro IPA, as they call it. Something that's still got a bit of a punch, but is even lower than a session beer really, and is that just that little bit easier to kind of go down. So
yeah,
nice.
I'm getting a bit of hops at the back end of the taste and a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of pine as well. But yeah, that's a really good beer. Happy with that. It's very
nice.
pretty.
It is. So my final pulse is a little bit slightly darker, but it has got that slightly straw, slightly yellowy hue to it. It's not maybe quite as sort of juicy and orangey in the colour. Maybe the flavour kind of leads you to. On the nose, it was very light, getting a little bit of sort of tropical fruits, but there's kind of a bit of a mix in there. It's a bit hard, at least from my first nose into it, to discern exactly what those tropical fruits were. But as soon as you drink it, you're instantly getting a little bit of melon, maybe a little bit of like lychee in there, just backing it up slightly. There's this kind of lovely fruity juiciness to it that is then just sort of like dulled very slightly, that you kind of expect from, a slightly more soury kind of tropical fruit. And it's not sour to taste, but it just dulls that big juicy hit back a little bit. And there's not really any kind of bitterness on this beer either. It just kind of very easily, very slowly disappears after that fruit is just dulled down very slightly. And I know it's 6.8%. So I'm not getting any of that alcohol, but it's a beer that kind of, I don't know whether it's just from what you've been saying, Lucy. I kind of almost imagine it's a similar kind of experience to yours, where you're getting a nice flavour that just disappears and isn't quite a big kind of punch that maybe you expect from this. I think they said it was Centennial, or Simcoe and Centennial, an El Dorado. So I don't know, it's maybe not doing what I thought it was going to do, but it's doing something very, very nice and making it a very easy beer. And I mean, I'm already that far down, and I've poured in, the rest of the can. There's only a very small part in there still, so this is going to go down super, super quickly, which is fine. That's okay.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
It is. So, let's move on to our topics for this week. Alex, as the guest, I'm going to jump to you first.
Excellent.
What would you like to discuss?
I've been really busy. So, big, meaty games are the games I shouldn't be playing. Things like Red Dead, things like Assassin's Creed, things like The Sims. So what I've done is spent most of my time recently playing The Sims 4 on Xbox One. But it's quite a boring discussion. So I'm going to talk about... Okay, we'll come back to Sims 4. But I'm going to start with Captain Spirit.
Yes.
So I was quite excited to play this when it was first shown and then first came out for free download, and I never got round to it.
Yeah.
And so I turned it on today knowing that I needed to talk about something, and it's a quick play. It's really short, but it packs in so much story, which you're really not expecting, and it turns quite dark very quickly. So it's Don't Nod game, same as Life is Strange, and it fits into the Life is Strange universe, and apparently the character appears in Life is Strange 2, which is my next game on my list to play.
Yeah.
But it starts off, you're this little boy in his bedroom, and he's playing with his toys. And it's nice and simple, probably put about 9-10 years old, same age as my own son, so I thought this could prove quite interesting. And I just enjoyed the game. So it's somewhere Chicago area, and it's very snowy, it's winter, Christmas is coming, and he creates a character called Captain Spirit. And you walk around the house. It's a small house, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1 lounge diner, and you find out so much about him and his dad and his mom and the story that's gone on there. And there's very, very dark undertones, which are never really pushed on you. And it's only when you think about it that it really hits you. And it's kind of stayed with me. I don't know whether it's because I've got a son that age myself. I mean, none of the other situations apply to me. He's much more interested in Minecraft and Fortnite than inventing superheroes, for example. But I love the play style of these games. I really enjoy them. They're just, everything about them works. You can see how this was a quick release. There's certain things they've done in the game, which is the sort of things you'd see in a cheap film, where they've turned away the camera so you don't have to watch the effect of him pouring milk out of a bottle. They don't have to animate that. So it just sits just above the glass that he's pouring out of. And there's things like that. And the fact I noticed them probably means most of the players would as well. I'm not very observant when it comes to that sort of thing in games anyway. But I absolutely adored the experience. It was so quick, and I sat and played it just over lunchtime. And I thought initially this is a good game for kids. Very quickly changed my mind just because of the language that's in it. Well, the undertones, not so much. The language that appears for a fair proportion of the story. Depends how quickly you progress through.
Yeah, because his single dad is a main character in it.
He's the only person there for the boy. But so what's happened is that the mom isn't with them any longer, and you can tell it's had an impact on the dad. Quite a nasty impact. In that breakfast time, he's drinking 3 cans of beer for breakfast.
I mean, everyone does that.
And then he goes and sits and watches the
we're recording at like 9 in the morning, aren't we?
Of course we are. Yeah, I've not looked it up. Bottle of whiskey while he watches the game, things like that. So he's really struggling with what's happened, and you find out as the story goes on why he's struggling so much with it, and why he can't get the closure that he needs. and the boy is just a boy. He can't understand what's going on. Why would he? It's not his job to understand. And he doesn't show any frustration, but you can see that it's there, and he knows that what is happening in his life, or you can choose if he knows what's happening in his life. I'm being deliberately coy because this is right at the end of the story, and it's set up in, rather than a linear story, it gives the illusion that it's non-linear, but a lot of things are linked to each other, and you have a list of things that he wants to do on his Saturday. He wakes up, he does this thing, and his dad's like, right, go off and play. And it shows you this piece of paper where he's got all these ideas on what he wants to do, and you follow the story through, completing these ideas. And it's all set on their plot of land. That's it. He's got a house, a tree house, a garage, and a pile of rubbish, and that's what you interact with. And that's it. And they've managed to fit so much in to this tiny workspace. It's so efficiently made. They should be really proud of themselves for bringing this.
Very much.
That's it. As you say, it's consistent through like all of their games. Just the amount of like environmental storytelling and like the amount of exposition that they pack into like little spaces, little like things that you just think are banal and just, you know, like a regular bedroom, but they put so much like characterization and detail into those small spaces, and it really portrays like a really in-depth story. And I really want to get around to this. I just haven't. So
this is easily
you
a job
about it now. I know that's what it is. It's like I know it's so short that I'm just not even. I'm just like, I'll play that. It's not going to take me long. I'll play that whenever.
There's no achievements though, Lucy.
I know that. That was a reason why I was like, maybe I will put this off a bit longer because I'm not doing this. But because Life is Strange 1, I have the first episode, and the second episode's coming to Game Pass. So I do want to play it, especially like all the talk of like the subjects that they tackle in Life is Strange 2. I want to get around to that, but it's like I have to play Captain Spirit first. Just haven't got around to it.
Captain Spirit's all about the letters. There's a lot of letters involved in it, and opening them in the right order tells quite a scary story, which is very apt for our current times, particularly in America. And so it's a fascinating tale told through so little, and I never really clicked with the characters in the first Life is Strange. A little bit too old, little bit too non-boarding school, a little bit too male maybe, all of those things combined together. And I just didn't really click with the characters. I thought the gameplay was exceptional, and the later storylines were amazing, but the early storylines were just a little bit too highly emotionally charged for me to click with. But concerningly enough, I can link up more with a alcoholic father and a 9-year-old boy playing with his superhero figures. But I don't know whether it is the fact that they've crammed so much in that you can't help but be drawn into the story, that it's been crammed in that short. They're not aiming for a playtime. They've got a story to tell.
Not. And again, not everyone's going to have that same experience. You know, not everyone that plays this will have a kid, of a similar age as you do. There will be a lot of female players for this as well. Considering maybe their audience for the first Life is Strange series. I just think they did really well to just pack in a super rich narrative and set of tools which give really good exposition. There's lots of stuff that you can miss and just not miss, but you just don't have to engage with. You don't have to pick up.
You could mainline Captain Spirit in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you could fly through it really.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that you might not pick up on. There's a moment where I walked. I can't remember the lad's name, but took him into the parents' bedroom, and is there a record player in there? Yeah, and you put on the record, and then
he just lies there.
He gets on the bed and just lies there, and I just went, well, I could get up, or I could just this is a really nice moment, and actually, I kind of want this lad to sort of just sit here and listen to the song and kind of, and I just sat there for the minute and a half or 2 minutes, whatever length the song is, just letting it go. And as soon as it then looped and started playing the song again, I'm like, okay, now we can move on.
Good,
That's been like a nice little moment for me. And it allows you to kind of play through this and experience all of these things, but it gives you those little spaces to breathe as well.
Yeah.
Those little moments to pause and kind of take everything in that you've experienced, and to connect with the character and to maybe see the experience that they're having from their perspective. So
I love those moments in those games.
And I don't think it needs to necessarily, it spoke to you, Alex, as the situation, having a son that's the same age, but I don't think necessarily it needed to. It probably couldn't, at least it did for me. It just drew me in enough that I'm like, this is actually really, really good, and they've done really well in making me connect with this young boy. So it's one of those games that I think I played through once, and I'm just like, there's extra things I could have done as well.
Right.
I'm thinking, will this lead into Life is Strange Season 2? Is this the character I'm playing? Because it came out and I played it before we knew any of the information about the second series.
True.
And there was like, you did this and you did this and you did this, and there's other stuff that I hadn't done. I'm thinking, does that lead into it? Surely it can't, because otherwise everyone would have to play the prequel to load it. So there's loads of stuff that I didn't do, but I didn't feel the need to jump back in and do those things. It's like a lot of the games I play, I'm like, that is the experience I have had with that character.
Absolutely.
And I don't think another playthrough of it will give me much more, except for just like tick boxes, like, I collected all of these things and I did all of this stuff.
That is the only reason I replayed any of Life is Strange Season 1, is to go back to the achievement.
Just take all the photos.
Same. Save those damn pigeons.
But the same as you had the experience. And I think, particularly if you did the bedroom the same order that I did, that short interlude of listening to that record was important for what you just picked out of the wardrobe, which is the order that I did it. And I'm suddenly like, right, okay, I need to relax here. And then just afterwards, I went and did something else, which had another bombshell attached to it. So I went back and played on the minigame for far too long as well. And they're perfectly placed. You can sort of imagine the push and pull at the studio, where the exec said, right, we want you to produce this free game, and it needs to be out just after E3. Right, okay, what's the budget? Well, it's very little, make it small. And you can just imagine the production team just saying, the creatives just saying, no, we've got this story to tell. We're going to tell this story. Okay, here's your budget. Right, we've got a really small plot of land, really small this, let's make it work. And they've crammed so much in. There's nothing given away at all by virtue of story. It is all there. You get everything you need to know, and your mind does everything else perfectly.
It does, yeah.
Who'd have thought that short games can be just as good as long ones? Maybe even better.
I don't know. The Sims 4, you tell your own story. That's the key. I've currently got a top of his career writer, a top of her career actress, and 2 children. I am nailing this, and they're in a 300,000 simoleon house. I am rocking it.
No cheats.
No cheats at all. Apart from in the console version, you do have to use the keyboard console to reset the Sims from time to time. Because as soon as you have a baby involved and a high chair, all of the programming just fails. It is amazing how bad it goes. What you need to do is have the child, send it off somewhere else, grow up, and then come back in when you don't need the high chair anymore. There
you go, Ben. Ideas.
Like high chairs in real life, really.
It just trashes everything. I sat and I thought, I wonder how long I can watch this loop play out for her. Mum picking the daughter up, putting her in the high chair, taking her back out, putting her on the floor, pick her up, put her down, and it went on for a good 10 minutes.
Just don't get a high chair. Yeah.
It does work as well. I could just leave them, sit on the floor and eat your dinner
on the floor. Yeah.
But yeah, the Sims 4 is a great time sink. You should get into that, Lucy.
Yeah, I really want to. It's there on my hard drive, installed. Just need to make it happen. Yeah.
It's at 2 different scales of things for you, Lucy, isn't it? Like super short game,
yeah,
massive forever game that you can just continue with.
I don't think if I ever I'm sure I told this story on this podcast before, but the first Sims that I had, like my friend lent it to me at school, and I literally played it for the rest of the day to the point where, I had a headache, and then I took the next day off school, and it's like instead of resting up as I should have, I just played it all day again. Yeah,
Obviously, is there any other way?
no, that's what I don't want to get into, where I'm not showering, I'm not eating, I'm not doing anything apart from playing The Sims.
Suddenly it's midnight. It's like, where's the day? I haven't even eaten.
Yeah.
My Sims have eaten lots, but I haven't eaten. What's going on?
Yeah. And then I'm just going to grow my own little plum bob, and it's just going to be red all the time.
I don't think I've played a Sims game since the second one.
That was the best one for me.
Is that the one that had tons and tons of expansions that let you go to a separate town centre and
I think that was free.
things like that? Was that
Two
three?
have that as well.
Sims 2 definitely had tons of expansions.
Okay.
That was the first one which let you have pets. But obviously that was all played on PC, so you could download all the mods as well. The shower that perfected everything. Sent them all out with green bars. That might be that might should stop.
I don't know. I just liked it for the house building. Just put in the cheats, get as much money as you want, and then just build absurd mansions.
Yeah.
Right.
There's plenty of stock absurd mansions because I've spent some money on the expansions for Sims 4 and some money. I've not got all the expansions, but I've spent some money.
No, because you still have a roof over your head.
Got to use that EA Access discount somewhere. And there are some absolutely bonkers houses. You would love it, Ben. You would love it. There are some amazing ones.
Oh,
and then you
you'll
just
have to
stick a basement on them.
Yeah, you have to screenshot them and send them over so I can be, when I'm just sat here, someone's like, can you build a house for me? I'm like, yeah, of course. You need a sex dungeon, don't you? I can put that in. Just take a stock Sims 4 house or something someone's created and be like, this'll do. That'll be fine.
It's all good.
Nice. Have we got anything to finish on Captain Spirit?
I think I've said everything that needs to be said. I couldn't say anything better than they've managed to say in the game.
Yeah,
They've nailed it.
Play this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I assume it is still freely available as well for anyone to.
I would expect so. I don't think they could get away with charging and not giving achievements. In all honesty, yeah. I think it's a perfect advertisement for why people need to spend money on Life is Strange. And nothing will advertise it better than that game. Anyone who's on the fence just needs to jump on Captain Spirit, and they know they need to play it.
Yeah.
It's simple. Yeah.
Lucy, have you played the first episode of the new Life is Strange?
No. Okay. I haven't seen it get too much press. When it first came out, I saw people talking about it, but I think it's probably because it's second season. It's not really as much of a surprise anymore.
Sure.
So maybe that's why. But yeah, I hope they're doing well. I hope it sold pretty well.
Yeah, and I know they came out a month or so ago, or a few weeks ago, with their dates for the rest of the episodes, aren't they? And it will conclude. Okay. Yeah, I think it concludes this year. So the final episode comes out in December.
Well, that's good that now people know, because for ages they didn't, and it's like TikTok. It's been a while, which is to be expected. I mean, these things aren't made overnight, but. Yeah, just giving that transparency of like, okay, this is when the next episode's coming and just stuff like that. So that's good.
Yeah, and it's a funny one because I haven't seen since the initial chat around Captain Spirit. I've not really seen it talked about anymore. It's not. It didn't come back up in conversation when those dates for for Life is Strange season 2 kind of were released, and you'd think. They'd want to push this as much as possible and be like, hey, look, come and spend 40 minutes to an hour and a half on this sort of standalone free episode and get a feel for what we're going for in the next Life is Strange. If you maybe didn't play the first one, you don't know what this is about, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So did you, Alex? What pushed you to play it?
I've been wanting to play it for ages. I thought it was. What I should have done is looked up at the length, and I probably would have played it months ago. Because it's a perfect one for the family are out at football training or something, I could have bashed it out while they were at football training.
Yeah.
To be honest, today it was because I needed something that wasn't Sims to talk about, and I thought, if I can get through some of this, at least I can have a conversation.
Yeah.
I've got Life is Strange 2, Season 2 sat on my Xbox ready and raring to go as well. But going back to what you were saying about the transparency thing, I think that a lot of players who played Season 1 picked up after it was finished, and it had all been released. And I think that the real hype for it came when people were saying, oh, well, Game of Thrones, Telltale's Game of Thrones was rubbish.
Yeah, it was
What
bad.
should I play instead? And by that point, Life is Strange Season 1 had finished. And they go and look at this. So a lot of the hype picked up after it had completed first
and
season.
it was, like, touted for like a lot of Game of the Year awards. Not Game of the Year, but like, the different categories like best narrative and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think it got a bit more press after that. But yeah, it might have even won a BAFTA. I can't remember. But yeah, I need to play it. I need to play it.
Do it, Lucy. Do it.
Yeah.
Right after
Really
this,
get
get
around to
absolutely smashed and play it. Just weep constantly.
Oh,
I cried at the end of the first game. That was
Yeah.
brutal.
it'd be so messy.
Oh, good. Nice. How's everyone doing on their beers? Is anyone ready for a second
I'm ready.
beer? Ooh,
Yeah.
Alex
I
looks like he's
can
ready.
be ready, yes.
Yes, I can also be ready. I was wondering whether we should move on to Lucy or whether we are prepared for our next beers. Alex, as you are ready, we'll come back to you. See what you're drinking next.
The Ramsgate Brewery Spread of Democracy, 5.3% Baltic Porter with spruce tips and juniper berries. So this one jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Because of the juniper. I've got a big thing about gin at the moment. And the juniper, I thought, I wonder how that's going to work, because it's obviously very, very dry. But this is a full-bodied dark ale with tones of coffee, chocolate, juniper, spruce, and smoke.
Nice.
Okay.
It's an interesting brew. It's from Estonia, or it's in collaboration with a brewery which I'm not going to butcher their name, from Tallinn in Estonia. So we'll see how this comes out.
The capital.
And who was the first brewer? Ramsgate.
Ramsgate Brewery from Kent.
I've never had anything from
No, I
them
don't
before.
think I've
It's another one of the Beer 52 Citizens of Every
that seems like a good box.
Spread of Democracy. This is dark. Very dark.
Slightly political this week from Alex with his beers.
Yeah.
What is- yes.
They must all be from the same box.
Yeah.
So I've just seen the title of my third one I've got lined up as well.
Oh, you've got a third, Jesus.
I've got a third. I'm on
I
it.
know.
I'm back.
We'll let Alex. He's on his little cans as well, isn't he? We'll let him have it.
Yeah.
Lucy, what are you
Yes.
drinking next?
I'm drinking a beer from Siren Craft Brewery.
Nice.
It's called No Biggie. And it's a West Coast IPA. Okay. Yep, there's some flavour test. It says West Coast / East Coast. It's all good. Here's a citrus-packed, resinous, dank, and hop-forward classic. Can you really call it a classic if it's like... Well, I guess the main classic is in the style, maybe? Maybe not the beer itself. Anyway, deep tropical fruit notes and a bitter finish wrap it all up. Dry hopped with Mosaic, Centennial, Chinook, and Simcoe. It's 6.7%.
Nice. How do they say the first sentence of their flavour text is East Coast, West Coast, it's all good. Is this spelt the same way as Biggie? B-I.
Yeah, yeah. Biggie spelled B-I-G-G-I-E.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a West Coast IPA. We all know that Biggie is the East Coast.
That's why they. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, we all know that. Definitely.
Okay, my second beer of this evening. So, I've already told you guys what the name of this beer is. Doesn't make any sense. It is hashtag www.OOOOO.DDD. 6 O's. It's from Cloudwater. It's a collaboration with Against the Grain. So,
I thought it was going to be like one of those. Is it Lost and Founded ones that you just cannot tell the name of?
well, the Lost and Found. No, they folded, didn't they? Lost and Found.
Did they?
Stopped brewing. Yeah, that was a little while ago. Yeah.
Is it because nobody could understand the names of their
Discern what was
beers?
going-
Yeah. It's
Don't
like
know.
searching for it on Untapped. Oh, we can't show how amazing this beer is because don't know what the name of it is.
2.222
Yeah,
pale
like-
ale 17.
Yeah, hashtag
56.
this. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
weird. That's a shame if they have.
Yeah, I'm sure we talked about that.
Probably.
Maybe I just talked to myself about it. So, the Cloudwater. We teamed up with Against the Grain for the 7th in a series of collaborations celebrating our first festival, friends, family, and beer. To brew a smoked beer that doesn't fit typical style guidelines, it has a complex malt base akin to an old ale, including malt we smoked ourselves using wood from bourbon barrels. It was fermented using a clean lager yeast. So, the info on it is... tells me what I should get from it. What I should get from it doesn't tell me all of the ingredients, though. Don't Cloudwater normally tell you all of the ingredients?
They started slacking. This is it.
Where are all the ingredients, Cloudwater? It is 7.2%. It does tell me what I should have. Sweet caramel and toffee, plum and macadamia nuts. With a building smokiness, rich and full-bodied, yet with a dry finish. Lasting smokiness mixes with herbal notes. Still don't know what's in there, so that's fine. It doesn't matter.
It'll be a
I'll
surprise.
pour it. And we'll come back to you, Alex. How's the beer?
It's very, 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 very dark.
Yes.
That's black, not brown at all. That is very dark. Smelling on the nose, smoke. Pretty
Yeah.
much purely smoke. I'm getting on the nose.
Okay.
The juniper's definitely there.
Mm.
It's basically a standard porter. The coffee's really strong, but the juniper seems to hit first, which is
Okay.
quite strange. But you definitely get that as you're taking the sip. The juniper just covers your tongue. It's very quickly taken over by the burnt coffee taste. I'm not getting the chocolate at all. The spruce is in there. Does feel like you're chewing down on a tree. I think
bark.
it's a delicious part, that is. It's quite an odd profile. It starts off quite sweet, and it definitely descends down into bitterness. You can feel the change across your tongue, which is quite strange. I've not really had anything like this before, where it's got that sort of profile. It's interesting is the only way I can quite describe it. I think it's a little bit too burnt for my tastes.
Okay.
Right.
A little bit too much on the smoke and the coffee side of things.
It's more like a Rausch beer rather than just a porter.
Yeah,
Or
you're not
you
getting.
expect chocolate, as you say, but you're not getting
Yeah, the
any.
chocolate's not sitting there at all. You're
Yeah.
not getting any of that. It's an odd one. I'm not saying I dislike it, but I wouldn't choose this one again off a shelf purely because of that burnt taste a little bit too much. Unless I'm sat by a campfire, I'm not drinking this beer.
When you're already assailed with smoke from somewhere else.
That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
So
strange. It's so
Is that-
strange with the sweetness to start. It's really peculiar. Usually, this sort of thing finishes. Get that bitter wash first, and then it sweetens up. But starting on the tip of your tongue with the juniper hit,
Yeah.
it's quite peculiar.
Yeah, I'd never expect that in like a porter of all things.
No, it's very strange. It leaves
Is it
an
got-
incredibly bitter aftertaste.
Yeah.
has it got any sort of, with along with that juniper, with that initial kind of taste, has it got any sort of like spiciness to it at all that like leads into that smoky or that slightly woodier kind of taste, or is it just like it's like a super dry kind of ginny, slightly sweet?
It's like the sort of sensation you get pop a pomegranate seed. You get
Right.
a hit of sweetness. You're not getting the dry at all from the juniper. That's coming from the coffee later on.
Yeah.
But you get that hit of sweetness, and it is like an sweetness very quickly washed over with the coffee. It does just taste like a bad coffee. by the end of it. Coffee that's brewed for a little bit too long.
With a bit of gin on it, and just to spice it up.
It's strange.
Get
It's
your
very
morning
strange.
going.
I think I need to add some tonic. That's what I need. It's a really peculiar flavour.
And just give it a little bit of a carbonation as well. Just
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
I think I like it. I
sounded
think I like it.
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's alright.
Yeah.
Nice. Lucy, how's your
Yes. Yeah, mine is much more straightforward than Alex's. On the nose, you're getting like caramel and orange and a bit of pininess on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just continues into the taste. It's not sweet, which is good. Because I was thinking just the smell of it smells quite malty. It's probably going to get a lot of that caramel. You are getting a bit of caramel in the taste, but it is balanced well by bitterness that's still sitting on my palate from like the pininess and the hops. So yeah, it's well balanced. There's not really much to say about it. It's not as quite involved as Alex's beer. It's just a standard like West Coast IPA, like fruity and then leading into bitterness, well balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely hazy. It's got like orange, I'd say very light amber colour. But yeah, it's not quite hoppy, it's quite soft as well. The micro IPA was far hoppier than this, so it's very easy drinking. It's almost like more juicy rather than like getting that effervescence off the hops. So yeah, it's going down quickly. But yeah, it's a nice beer. But honestly, not much to say about it.
No, there's no sort of there's no like dankness to it at all. It's
yeah, I'd say that it's got a bit of dankness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you would want a little more of from like a West Coast IPA. I think a little bit of dankness in there as well, just sort of to show that it's a bit more kind of hop forward.
Yeah.
And they're really kind of like pushing that. But it's an interesting one. If they said West Coast IPA, but they say West meets East on the back.
I don't know
whether
what
that's
they're on
just a
about.
Biggie reference or whether that's actually
possibly.
to do with beer.
I think it's just West Coast. Like yeah, it says West Coast IPA, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's slightly dank. It's one of those where I've had a lot of like, oh, this is like a US style IPA or something like that, and it is just all malts and like barely any hops, and it's just that overwhelmingly like malty and caramel sweet kind of flavour. This, like even from the aroma and the initial taste, you think it's going towards them, but that pininess on the back just saves it from being like that, like cheap styles, like kind of taking on like a West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
It's just a standard beer from Simon. Yeah.
Fair enough. So the Cloudwater and who was it? Against the Grain, I think. Yes, Against the Grain collaboration beer with the stupid name. You're definitely
HTTP.
Getting a lot of sweetness on the nose, like instantly hit by it. And there is that kind of that slight fruitiness to it as well, which this suggests, at least on the back of the can, that it's plum. I'm not sure I would be able to pick out that it was plum alongside those kind of like that sweet caramel sort of note to it, but it's a very nice, very enticing kind of nose to it, and it's it's a little bit lighter than Alex's beer. It is definitely more of a brown ale. Yeah. More of like a traditional sort of ale. It's got a little hint of red to it as well when it's right under the light. Oh, that is nice. It kind of does follow the style of like a brown ale, but it is a lot lighter. It doesn't have that thickness to it. It's very, very wet in its kind of mouthfeel, but it does then just dry you kind of right out. And the nose and the flavour do link up very nicely. you're getting those sweet notes and that plum kicking in massively in the taste, and kind of not overbearing, but it is what sort of pushes through quite a lot in the actual flavour itself. But it's backed up then by that sweet kind of, getting a bit more caramel than kind of toffee, but it's backed up by that sweetness in there as well, which I assume is what the malts are doing, that sweet caramel and the toffee, as they say, kind of pushing through in there. I mean, it's super, super light. It's a big flavour, but it's very, very... I don't want to use the word thin, because it's not, but it is not edging on, your standard, or what we would kind of class as like that cloudwater viscous nature to it. It has a lightness to it, a slightly wetter, thinner mouthfeel to it than I was kind of expecting, at least from kind of like a brown ale. And I suppose that's maybe why they say it doesn't fit a typical style, that they've gone kind of, midway between a few different things that are going on.
Does explain the crazy name as well. Let's just break with all tradition and call it this nonsense, please.
Just call it something really fucking random, just completely out there. You do get that smokiness to it as well, which picks up towards the end. I think it said bourbon barrels, and you are getting maybe a hint, a very, very light hint of that kind of like that woodiness that you'd maybe get from like a barrel-aged beer, or like a barley wine or something like that. There is that very slight, I know it's said a lot of sweet from the caramel, there's a very slight sweetness as well, which is maybe those bourbon barrels kind of giving you that wood smoke and that light sweetness just continuing on through, perhaps. I mean, almost no bitterness, but it kind of dries the mouth, and it's not a bitterness, but it just, I think it's the smokiness maybe just lingers a little bit longer than everything else, which almost makes it feel like it's slightly bitter. Whereas it's not, not getting that on the flavour at all, not getting that kind of like as it evolves, but just as it dries, you're like, oh, there's that like little tongue tingle that you kind of think is maybe a remnant of a slight bitterness, and your mind thinks back and like, is there a little bit of bitterness in there? Maybe there is a little bit of bitterness in there. No, it's the smoke. Oh no, but is there some bitterness in there? And my mind's just going like, what is this beer? What is going on? But it's good. But it is good.
Yeah. Tidewater doing the thing. I haven't had a beer from them in ages. Like that. I don't know. Have they come out with new stuff recently? I don't even know.
Well, I mean, so what did this say? It was a series of collaborations from their friends and family and beer festival. I think this was the 7th collaboration, and they've had ones with is it like Other Half, which I think was a double IPA, if not a triple IPA, and a few other people. Looking on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff, seeing a lot of people drinking the same Cloudwater beers, and these collaboration beers that they've kind of like been bringing out. They've still got their A18 series? Is it A18?
I don't know. I don't even know if I've heard that.
So they did a series which was, they kept one of the ingredients the same and then changed a load of stuff around it. I can't remember, was it the yeast that they were using maybe? I don't know. Clearly I don't drink enough beer.
Nobody knows, yeah.
Or I drink too much beer to actually remember.
Yeah, I think that's more like it.
So, with that revelation about my life, Lucy, what topic have you got for us this week?
I'm going to bring a topic to the table for the first time. Because the games that I've played, I don't think I'm going to go into them too much, but yeah, I 100%ed Yoshi's Crafted World, the main game. Yeah, really charming, fun. The challenges in there, if you want to get that 100%, it's nothing overwhelming, but yeah, like collecting everything. It requires you to go through the levels like probably too many times that you'd want to, but it's just so charming and like good looking, and the music's awful, but so on like the 5th time you're going through a level, mute it and listen to a podcast. But yeah, it's really chill. I just needed like a chilled out game to like play over the last couple of weeks, and that was it. Yeah, Yoshi's
nice
Crafted World. And late to the party, but I played and finished Axiom Verge, which is a very good game.
Yes.
It's because I was watching Super Metroid, like AGDQ, or just GDQ, Games Done Quick, did a 100% speed run of Super Metroid because it's like the 25th anniversary recently. And just like halfway through watching that, it's like, God, I need some Metroid in my life. I was like, just give me any Metroid, just hook it to my veins. And I was just like, okay, got Axiom Verge, still haven't played that. It's on my Switch. Yeah, really good. Yeah, music's alright. Gameplay's like tight, it feels good. Not all of the guns are that great, and I wish they had signposted where you have to go more often. So in the end, I just ended up looking up at a guide on where to go next, and that probably brings me to my topic. It's been ravaging the internet about games and their difficulty. And
nice, yeah.
Preface it with a sigh, but people, I think the whole debate came about with Sekiro, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, is one of the Blood Souls born games from Software, and people are having a hard time with it. And I think somewhere down the line, different options was conflated with accessibility. And then a whole other kind of internet troll came out after that. Like, no, we don't want easy games because we're the gamers. TM, and then people were like, maybe they should be easier for accessibility. And then another just complete other kind of asshole came out and just like, no, you shouldn't be able to play the games if you have any kind of disability or stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to open up the floor to you two. Just share how you feel about not just, games with easy settings, but the whole, I'm not even going to talk about accessibility because it's like, it's an obvious one. Yes, more people should be able to play games, but just about the whole ease and options and if it messes with creative intent and stuff like that.
Alex, I'm going to let you go first.
Bring me the easy mode.
Yes.
I have a child. I have a job that I work shifts on, so my gaming time's quite limited. Bring me that easy mode every single time now.
Yep.
The last game I played on normal. Historically, I've played most games on. I played Spider-Man on normal. Then after that, everything else has been cranked down to the lowest difficulty possible. Because, as I may have already mentioned, I play games which are far too big for my time allowance.
Yep.
Things like Assassin's Creed, I want to enjoy that world. I want to enjoy the story. If I'm getting into fights that I can't win, then I need to be able to just enjoy the story. That's it. I've played Assassin's Creed at the easiest level possible, and I'm absolutely loving it. When I turn it on, I know I'm not going to be banging my head against a brick wall. Now, I've got no issues with people that want to play Souls or Bloodborne or whatever, or Sekiro, because they can enjoy that. Those games aren't for me anyway. I don't like grindy sort of games. I don't like games where I have to keep reloading and going back, even down to something like OOL'er. When I used to play that's
a real Dark Souls game.
But the reload on that was so quick.
Yeah.
It sort of became nature to just hover my finger ready to reload.
After you fall down.
Expecting the failure.
Yeah, I don't know why I put myself through it. Like Lucy said, the accessibility argument's a complete moot point. It needs to be accessible, and I think any developer that's working on something take these into account from the very beginning, so it's not even a question for the creative direction.
Yeah.
You need to work around the people that you're aiming your game at. And I think if you choose to make a creative decision that excludes another group of people, then you need to seriously question your position in the industry.
Absolutely.
It's that simple. It needs to be at the absolute core of everything that you do, is making sure that people can enjoy what you're creating. If what you're creating is behind a gate, if you're gatekeeping your game from a group of people, regardless of what group of people it is, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself. really think if this is the place for you to be working.
Yeah.
And I think for the rest of us, I don't play those games. I probably still wouldn't play those games even if they had an easier mode there for accessibility purposes, because it's not my bag. And even with the accessibility modes activated, they're still going to be challenging because that is a function of the gameplay. It's just the level of challenge. While you've got your internet trolls who think it needs to be this level of difficulty, they're not applying the relevance factor that level of difficulty can be really easy for the standard player, but still as difficult as the high level for somebody who's who needs that accessible mode to work with. It's a non-discussion
it really
as far
is.
as I'm concerned. It's the creative direction. Fine, I can, but I think I'm getting much enjoyment out of the games that I'm playing now for having that easy mode. The fact I can turn it on, I can make progress, and then I can go and do the rest of my life around it, rather than turn it on, play for an hour, get nowhere, and then hate the game.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better, to be honest. As you say, moot point about the accessibility, but yeah, like, I think some people were just like, it seems to, people think it seems to dilute their like enjoyment or like engagement with the game if there's just the option of an easy mode, and it's like, no, because most people play on normal, but it's always good to offer options. I think that's what more creators and developers want to have, like options for people. Like, look at Celeste. I mean, I didn't have any of the I think it's called like accessibility modes or whatever, like modifiers that they had on that game. But I wanted to do that, but knowing that people finished that game without like maybe not even dying, had like, I don't know, like just floated their way through the game, it's like, that doesn't bother me or my experience. It's like, great, you managed to see like one of the best games in the last 10 years and one of the best platformers and an amazing story, and it's like, it doesn't take anything away from the experience. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe this was a stupid topic because it's like, it's just a stupid conversation.
It is, but we've got people who kind of, and it is a little bit of gatekeeping, but I know Matt Thornton, who is the developer of Celeste, came out on Twitter essentially saying, look, this is what I put into my game to make it more accessible. It's not just about making subtitles slightly bigger for people to be able to read them, or making like colorblind mode. Yes, those things really help some people and are accessible options, but actually I put in an additional jump. So in Celeste you've got one jump and a dash and you're done, but actually there's an option to be able to put on a second jump, and yes, that makes the game easier, but it opens it up to a hell of a lot of people. If you don't want the game to be easier, don't turn it on.
Yes.
But I saw some arguments of people saying, this game really helped me, and I think if I'd have turned on those easy modes, it wouldn't have helped me as much. So the people who played it in easy didn't experience the same game as me. It's like, no, you're right, they didn't experience the same game as you. They experienced the game that they experienced. You shouldn't take away from that experience. If someone's bashing their head against the wall constantly, they're just going to put it down and they're never going to play again. There's so many games out there, there's so many things, and not just games, there's so many forms of entertainment vying for your attention, that why would you just constantly smash your head against a boss or whatever you're looking for? Some people want to do that, some people want that challenge, but they're the kinds of people that have 6 hours a day to be able to do that and to be able to get good and all the fucking shit around all of that fucking stuff. So I think we're all coming from this from a very similar kind of position. Like, taking or putting in an easy mode is a little bit maybe different to kind of like accessibility options, but there is a little bit of a bleed through between kind of like the two of them in terms of, you put on some accessible options, it makes it a little bit easier, that's fine. But you don't need to put them on. If you don't want to experience the game in that way, you don't have to. If you want to play, we talked about Wolfenstein 2, And about, was it Wolfenstein 2 or was it just Wolfenstein where it had the absurd difficulty settings and actually normal was really fucking hard?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like
and
a lot of
like
that game, I did drop down the difficulty.
Yeah, it had like 6
points.
or 7 different difficulty settings.
Yeah, don't
they clearly knew that they'd made it a little bit hard, and actually they needed those different intervals because any game could have 100 intervals of difficulty settings because. Alex, you play a game differently to me. Lucy, you play a game differently to both of us. We're better at different things. We could all go and play Celeste and play them in slightly different ways. Our timing will be very different. Maybe one of us needs a slightly different setting. Maybe, we don't. And there's so many different intervals of people who need different levels of things. To even just boil it down to easy, normal, hard is still going to be a bit upsetting for some people because some people are going to play hard and they're going to breeze through it and they go, oh, yeah, all right. And it's why games like The Last of Us brought in like super hard mode, grounded mode. Why that followed the game on because people played that game and went, I want to play this again. I want more of a challenge than hard mode has given me. Yeah. And no one complained that a hard mode had been put into a fucking game.
God, no, no one at all.
And again, this is why we have achievements and trophies and things. If you have beaten the game on the hardest mode possible, hooray!
There you go.
Have got some kind of signifier that tells everybody your social status in the gaming TM world. I mean,
I'm a real gamer.
Everyone, really.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's really. It's like, come on, people, like.
I try and take everyone's views into account, of course, but sometimes you just fucking wrong.
Yeah, and yeah, it just. I mean, that was crazy enough. And when people were like, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't have an accessibility mode," and I was just like, "Oh my god, really?" Like even something as stupid as that I have really bad motion sickness, and it's getting worse as I get older. So I can't even watch people play like third-person games now because even that sets me off.
Really?
Sometimes. Yeah. So like first-person games, it's like I just immediately go into the settings. It's like, can I turn the head bob off?
Just the head.
Can
bob,
I? Mate. Yeah. Why do people put? And just yeah.
Why would you such a thing?
Yeah, why would you do that? And limit the field of view, put a reticle on. It's like I think probably The Occupation was probably the last first person game that I played. But yeah, you could just like turn the head bar off and like motion blur and stuff like that. It's like, thank you. This is like the most basic settings, like just like as you said, like making the text more readable, like bigger text. It's like just small things like that can just make a massive difference for people.
Yeah.
Because like some games I just don't play because if they don't have any of those settings, I just don't play them. It's like I don't get to experience them, and it's like it sucks. But I think FL1, The Occupation, White Paper Games, his previous game, I stopped playing because of that exact reason. So
yeah, I did as well, actually.
But it's like I don't know why next consoles, next I know we're building towards that. Xbox came out with that adaptive controller, and there's options to remap buttons, like in lots of games now. Like Yoshi, you could change the button layout, and Axiom Verge, it just gave you. It's like, what do you want this button to be? What just minute, really granular like changes in input layout and stuff like that. So it's like I think we're getting there, but it's like hopefully this won't be a discussion in like 10 years' time. Hopefully it's like, yes, we've tried to cater to everyone. Obviously there's going to be like some edge cases that you can't account for, but stuff like the adaptive controller, I think that's a pretty good cover for a lot of things. But
very much, yeah. But I
so
think
hopefully
there's there are so many different disabilities, and people have very different levels at everything that they experience. That an adaptive controller is absolutely fantastic, but it is not a catch-all for everything. It's not just like, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant that it has been brought out, and it's gonna allow a lot of people a lot more control over what they're getting, and a lot more enjoyment over what they're getting as well. But there are other people that, you know, and they look at these things and go, well, an adaptive controller kind of maybe doesn't work for me. There's other things that will come in from the developer level. So, you know, like Celeste putting in the additional jump, or games that put in like colorblind modes and things like that, which will also help them. And there is a positive trend in the industry of moving towards those sorts of things. And Sekiro has put in an easy mode on their PC version. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know whether it's come to everything else yet, but last I heard, it comes to their PC version. They put in an easy mode, so
that's nice.
They at least have listened.
Yeah.
And any kind of argument that it was against the creative vision, they've kind of dialed back on and gone, okay, people want to experience their game. Actually, if we had, say, I don't know, I have no idea how many games sold under the Soulsborne sort of thing, but if we had, say, 4 million copies of Bloodborne sold, and it's a hard game, and actually only 500,000 people finished that game, because we know, because we have trophies, we can chart this sort of thing. We know that 500,000 people, so a certain percentage of our people, of game buyers, finished that game. Really, we want everyone who's bought that game to finish that game. So what could we do to make that better for people? And maybe they looked at the numbers of Sekiro and went, fucking hell, we sold a lot of this game. Is it going to be the same sort of thing that only maybe 10-15% of our players actually get through to the end? We want people to play this game through. We want people to experience the entire game. Let's put in an easy mode, you know. And again, is that will boost numbers for people, because people will suddenly go, okay, this is a game I was sticking away from. I certainly have thought in the last week or so about picking Sekiro up, not just because people have sort of said, you know, it's much more of a Tenchu sort of spiritual successor than it is like a Soulsborne game, but because I know that, the same as you, Alex, I haven't got the time to put into a game like that. I need something that I want to experience, but that maybe I can kind of experience a little bit quicker. And, you know, putting in an easy mode and allowing you to maybe jump between difficulties during your gameplay. So actually, I can play the game on normal, and suddenly I've spent like an hour on a boss, and I just want to get past this boss. Drop it down a difficulty level, get past that boss, bump it back up. Try to play the rest of the game, and then at some other point, you know, the level of progression through that, you've got to drop it back down again. It's kind of, as you say, it's almost we've conversed about this for a little bit now, but it's almost like a non-conversation. Why wouldn't you do these things to make more people play your game? Yeah,
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, if it is like creative vision why you want to make the game hard, then how many people has seen that creative vision all the way through if it is just that hard? Like, I wanted to play Bloodborne just to look at the grotesque monsters and experience the story, but there's no way in hell that I'm ever going near that game. I don't like being punished in gaming or in any parts of life. It's like, it's like,
some people love it.
Behave.
That's why you've been building your sex dungeons. But yeah, it's like, I'd love to experience that, just that Lovecraftian, weird, messed up world. But just in most games, it's like, if I've done this and I succeeded at this, if I killed this boss or this, you know, or I completed this level or cleared out this room, don't punish me and make me do it again. I've proved that I can do it. Don't make me do it again. So, yeah. And I like games where you can just switch the difficulty on the fly. I don't like, you want to put it on easy mode? Okay, you have to play easy for the rest of the game, or you have to play hard for the rest of the game. You have to start a new game to change it. So, allow me the option.
Yeah, completely. I know the Surge is a Soulsborne-esque type game, and it's free on PS Plus. And I think it's the game I'm going to install this weekend and play a little bit of.
Yeah,
I just hope it's maybe a little bit more, you know, accessible than trying to just start up fucking Dark Souls 2 or something like that. So we shall see. I'll probably talk about that one next week, maybe, if I've actually had some time to put into it.
Yeah. put easy mode in Hollow Knight so Ben can play it.
Mate, it's those fucking 3
The mantises.
women, the fucking throne women. Even just playing the first one's just too hard, mate. Fuck.
Yeah, I think it's because I just go into like a stupor when playing like Hollow Knight, because it is apparently it's hard. I didn't find it hard, but I think
nails. I played it for about 2 hours and had to roll over. I was done. Game over, sorry. No.
Yeah. But that's the thing, it's like I don't find like some platformers hard just because I'm okay at them. I'm not going to say I'm good because I'm okay at them. But yeah, like throwing an easy mode into Hollow Knight. Let people play it and experience it because it's fantastic.
Completely. And again, I was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the remastered version, through the single-player campaign on Veteran.
Yeah, I've done that.
I've played the game before. I know what to experience. I'd actually been playing multiplayer and really enjoying it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do the first bit, which tells you the difficulty that you should do it through. And I was like a couple of seconds off beating getting the highest score that you have that Soap has. And I'm like, right, I'll just do this a little bit. And then when I actually did it, it's like, you should play this game through on Veteran. I'm like, okay. That seems fair. I'll try that out. And and I was breezing through it for about half of the game, and suddenly I get up to that like Chernobyl mission, and you get through and you move through the level, and suddenly you're at that like standoff by the Ferris wheel, and they just keep coming and keep coming. I remember that
being notoriously difficult. Yeah.
And I've put the game down and I haven't picked it back up again, and I think that's the danger of harder elements or harder places in games, that you just put it down and you just don't come back.
Yeah.
You never get that with Farming Simulator.
one bad crop and you're done.
No bad crops.
All your animals die.
No pestilence here. Alex, you've got a third beer.
I certainly have. I have. So after our conversation about getting to Dublin, I have the Freedom of Movement Black Lager in collaboration with Boundary.
Black Lager?
Yeah.
Snakebite.
It was at the front of the fridge.
These are
this
some weird beers.
is a positive celebration of the concept that protects the basic right of individuals to travel, freedom of movement. It is the product of freedom of movement between Sligo Island and Belfast in Northern Ireland. Dark German lager that balances roasted yet smooth coffee-like malt flavours. Enjoy moderate hop bitterness and a dark chocolate palate to the finish. It is a 4.5%, and there is a gorgeous design on the can. A map of Northern Ireland.
Ooh.
Any of that will be visible in
there.
Yeah,
nice.
Cool.
That is a really
lot
nice
of detail.
Can.
Yeah.
You don't need a passport to drink this beer then.
I'm all right. I'm in Scotland. We'll be independent soon anyway.
And I'll be moving right up there. I've got Scottish.
I did see the. I think when you mentioned, because I said it was a collaboration with Boundary.
Yeah.
Who is? I think I spoke over you as you mentioned the brewer. Who was it?
It is.
It's a W.
White Hag.
Yeah.
White Hag Brewing Company.
They make some good beers.
This wonderful design as well.
I think all of the White Hag beers I've had have been through Beer 52.
Oh,
yeah.
I obviously have a good relationship with them.
That might be the case for me as well.
Yeah.
Boundary, I like some of their beers as well.
Oh, there's the chocolate from the last one. Yeah, this is nice. It's a lager, and you can tell by the fact that it's just air, carbon dioxide bubbling through it. It's very dark again, but there's definitely chocolate sitting there in the background.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever had a black lager. Black IPA, obviously.
I don't think I have.
But
that doesn't taste like a lager at all. That tastes like an ale. That is a really good lager. It is just the carbonation, I think, that sets it apart as a lager, and that's it.
Yes.
It's really good. There's very little on the nose.
Yeah.
Because
And
it looks like a stout or porter. Like it looks like
it's light. It's very light.
Hmm.
So it's not got the same sort of viscosity as a stout or a porter.
Yeah.
But the flavour profile's definitely there. It does taste like an ale. It's quite hoppy.
Yeah.
And there's definitely chocolate left on your tongue at the end of a sip. It's really good. That I really like that.
That sounds good. Like, I want this beer now. Like, so I love black IPAs. Like, because you're getting the best things of an IPA and a stout in one beer. And it's like
That is
happy
really
marriage.
good. It's listed. Water, barley, hops, and yeast.
Yeah.
That is what is in this. There is nothing.
That's the problem with the
exciting.
Beer 52 cans. They don't really give you much.
They don't tell you a lot. Should we see what Untapped says?
Yeah.
Ooh,
There
good
might be a
idea.
little bit more in there.
Probably some in the Ferment magazine as well. Probably give you some.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think on Untapped,
Yeah.
occasionally when you open up Ferment and it says, it has that little wheel, doesn't it? And says
Yeah.
this beer is X number of hoppy or this, and this. And then they do give you a description. I think that description is usually on Untapped as well.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing is the same as back.
Okay.
Little bit of weak. Some of the reviews, little bit of weak, dark, inoffensive. And the tags, the taste tags which are on there: dark, bitter, thin, full, and gassy. So pretty much everything I've already said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to put into words. It's a good lager.
Has it got that
This is-
slight? Because a lot of lagers, or a lot of German lagers, have got that slight dankness to them. So we talk about a dankness when you're having a hoppy beer, but actually there's that slight weediness that you have with
very
something like a
slight.
Beck's or a couple of the German sort of lagers. There's just that little bit of mouth puckering kind of weedy dankness to them.
Right at the very end, there is a very slight. It's very slight, but I think the chocolate balances that out quite a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, definitely an offset. That's good. I'd get that one again.
Yeah.
Happily.
Good stuff.
Ooh, good. A good third beer for you, Alex. So we're down to me for a topic. Lucy, you've already dealt us a heavier kind of topic. I was gonna. Oh no, I'm gonna have to do it, aren't I? Because I haven't got anything else. So EA, Star Wars.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. EA and Star Wars. So EA have been in
have
the
they done
news a lot lately about their games, or at least the games that other people are making for them and they're publishing. We've had a few reports in Kotaku about Anthem and the state of that game and what it was meant to be originally. We've had a report again in Kotaku from Jason Schreier about Dragon Age as well, and maybe what the Dragon Age 4 game was going to be before it was scrapped and was started again. And when I read those, I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. These aren't really franchises that I'm that invested in. I really hope nothing fucking happens to the Star Wars game from Respawn that is coming out. So I saw on the Duck Hunters Facebook page was posted a tweet from something called The Quartering. I don't know what that is, but
Okay.
they've
Sounds
said
like-
new video. So it's someone who makes videos. An insider working on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order reached out to me with information around microtransactions and mismanagement around the game.
And
They
his
said it was
uncle works for
getting-
Nintendo.
Well, this is so here we go. Yeah. So it says we're getting the Anthem treatment. Yikes! And then he shares the video. So I kind of wanted to kind of talk around the idea of what could they actually do to this game? Is it it's meant to be a single player game? What can they get? What can they get
It's gonna be
wrong?
microtransactions.
What can they
in,
get wrong? What
You
can
have to
buy
pay for an easy mode.
50p
for a
for
light
colorblind mode,
Yeah.
I
it'll
know
be
that
fine. It'll be fine. It'll just be fine.
Yeah.
As long as,
Yeah.
it's just gonna
Dragon
be
Age is a single player game. Like Mass Effect Andromeda is a single player game. And I can understand the idea behind microtransactions in things like Anthem and stuff like that. They want to monetize that as much as possible. Obviously, games like Shadow of Mordor, as it should have been called, rather than Shadow of War, had the whole like, you've got to grind as much as possible. Oh no, just pay to breeze through and not have to grind as much as everybody else. What the fuck could they actually do to a Star Wars game? Like, pay 50p to have a lightsaber. Otherwise, you've just got to force push everyone. Like, I don't understand what the fuck they could do to actually fuck this up.
They will find a way. It's EA. They are the experts at money. Problem is, the game is going to be better than 90% of the games that people want to release. So, discounting the fact that the majority of those games never ever make it to our console stores.
Yeah.
But it's going to be better than most games. It's going to be worse than a lot of the games. It's going to charge us
7.5.
Yeah, exactly that. It's going to look. It's going to look good.
Give it a 9.
It's going to look good. It's going to have lightsabers,
It'll
Jedi's and
sound
stuff.
good. Yeah. The story will just be like, all right.
Nah, yeah.
Well, that was something.
It'll be canon, which is the key.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything now is canon. Star Wars.
I hate this shit. I'm just going to go on a mini rant, but who cares what canon is? It's like, it's all made up anyway.
We care. We care. Nerds.
Who cares?
£3 for a non-canon playthrough.
It's like
£3 where you can kill Darth Vader in the
yeah. It's not like you're writing it into the history books. It's just, it's fiction. Who cares if it's canon or not? So this is just a me thing where I just think like, it's so bloody stupid. People like getting angry and hysterical because it's not canon or it is canon. It's like, it's just a made up story, you know? Take anything that I love. Okay, the dinosaurs were actually robots. Cool. I don't care. Like,
The dinosaurs are actually robots. That makes it better, surely.
oh yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn taught us that. But yeah, it's like, oh, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were actually just animatronics. They weren't real. Cool. Put that in the next book. I don't care. Sorry.
I can see the monetization. I can see it now. It's going to be recharges and things like that. You can pay 50p to get your force bar refilled straight away, or you can pay 50p to not have to go through a cutscene to transport through hyperspace. And it's going to be utter. But it's going to be things that people pay for, so that they can speedrun. They can say, "Oh,
like
I finished this game. I finished the game in 2 hours." Well, nonsense.
Excuse my ignorance, but what is this game? Is this the Respawn one?
Yes, yeah, it's the Respawn one. So it's,
Is it just
it's a
meant to be
single.
like-
It's meant to be a single-player experience.
Oh, do we know anything about it?
No,
Oh.
we don't know anything
Well,
about it apart from Zampella
Who
at
knows?
E3 last year went, yeah, it's called
Oh
Jedi
yeah.
Fallen Order. Bro.
Oh yeah, and he was like, "Leave me alone."
Essentially,
So
yeah.
weird.
We're actually
Yeah.
making Apex Legends at the moment, so just leave us alone for a bit, and we'll fucking.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't really have like many like just single player? Is it going to be first person shooter? I guess.
I have no idea.
I
idea.
think
Oh,
it's going to
nobody
be
knows
Jedi
anything
based,
about this
isn't it? It's definitely going to be Jedi based. The fact it's called
Called Jedi what? Fallen
Fallen
Order.
Order.
So the Jedi Order has fallen. So that'll be the logical step, is that it is force based, so they can charge you to get a faster refill on your force bar.
Yeah.
More midichlorians.
I think it's because wasn't this? I don't understand that, but
Most people who've seen the prequel trilogy don't understand it either.
Christ. Because do we even know if this is going to be first person? I mean, be third person? I don't know. Like,
We've seen nothing from this game.
right. Okay.
I'll
so
expect it to
I'm
be
not
third.
just ignorant. Okay.
I would think it's third. So
It could be like Uncharted or something.
what was the? Is it the Visceral game? Was like a third-person game, which
Yes, the Alien
is nothing to do with this game.
Right.
So the third-person Visceral single-player Star Wars game that they were making, which has now all been disbanded and has been moved to like EA Edmonton or something like that. They're using assets from, and they're completely changing. Fallen Order is meant to be is completely not related, like I would assume development wise, to that game. So stuff that we've seen for whatever Visceral's game was going to be called cannot be used for this, and I don't think we have seen anything from this game.
When did EA acquire Respawn? Were they making They couldn't have been making this before, because they wouldn't have had the Star Wars.
No,
surely.
I would.
It would have been. They commissioned the two games.
Oh,
didn't they,
okay. They
at the same time.
They bought them. Right.
Um,
It's just good. You know what? I know exactly what this game is. It's
Pod
just
racing.
Infinite Warfare.
no, it's Mario Kart pod racing. That's all it is.
Who knows? It could be. If we don't know anything about it.
In
It could be a
lightsabers,
VR game. Who knows?
The mushrooms and stuff.
But it's exactly, yeah. You could just throw your lightsaber behind you at people.
That's all it's going to be.
I think it's going to be like Infinite Warfare, but with more bright colours with the
So
lasers.
first-person Battlefront.
Yeah.
I think this game's going to be more like Knights of the Old Republic.
An
I mean-
RPG.
I think it's going to be similar to that in that it's going to be decision-based storytelling, with quite limited action. It doesn't really fit though with Respawn's work, but I think that's the style we're going for. A third person, very cryptic story base where you don't really know what's going on till the end. Therefore, they can charge you so much more for extra perks and things like that, and that's where it's going. But that's where they're going to make the money. If you want to follow the light side, because after all, it's a Fallen Order, you want to follow the light side, but you can still get Force Lightning and look like a badass.
Is it going to be like Anthem? Is it just going to be Anthem?
No,
the
because it's
Iron
not
Man
multiplayer
simulator.
game. It's
Yeah, just on
definitely
your
single-player
own.
experience.
Anthem on your own.
Maybe. You should just make a fucking Iron Man game,
I
sure.
would have killed for Anthem. I never bought Anthem, but I was so excited to play Iron Man Simulator. I was so
You
excited
can
to
in
play
your PSVR very soon.
Just play Crackdown. Free. It's much better.
I could do that, yeah.
Yeah,
another
that
game
is
for
a
me to
damn
play.
good game. I'm sorry, I love that game. Yeah, plays Terry
Oh.
Crews. Wins
Sorry,
out on Star Wars.
Everything with Terry Crews.
Makes it a 10 out of 10, to be honest. Let's
Yeah,
be
I have
honest.
just started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Just
Yeah.
started.
Just started, yeah.
I
I've
am
never watched it
so
before.
I am so jealous
Just
of
started
you.
it.
You've got
Just
a
started
great
it.
journey
It is
ahead.
I think I'm 6 or 7 episodes in.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
I
very
wanna
good. There's a
bet
lot of
one-
seasons as well. I didn't realise it went on for quite as long. And obviously it was
Oh, it's-
cancelled and has been picked up by someone else as well. So
They've been renewed for another one as well.
yeah.
I'm on about my
Yeah, you
25th, 26th rewatch. Honestly, I that is my go to sleep show. I will watch that.
I can't imagine Terry Crews is in Jedi Fallen Order, but I
it'd
do
be so good.
I do get the
I'd actually
vibe that
play
it
it.
might be a little bit Crackdown 3. That maybe it isn't a, that it's kind of third person, but pulled out a little bit, and it is you just kind of going around doing what you want. I don't think it's maybe as, like story driven as the Visceral game was going to be, which is like headed up by Amy Hennig. As you say, Alex, maybe it takes that more like Mass Effect-y type route, and it is a bit more about like decision making and stuff like that. But based on Respawn's previous games, you'd imagine that it's going to be a bit more shooty, jumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ideal Star Wars game for me, because I really would like a nice, single player, story driven Star Wars game, even though I'm not really, here or there with the overall franchise, but you'd have to play as an Ewok, and that would be my ideal Star Wars game.
Before or after the battle, that's the key. Are you just
Wherever
before
they're-
the Empire rock up? It's just you and the buddies in the woods.
Yeah.
You've got no exposure to the rest of the galaxy.
Yeah,
That's it.
I,
And it-
I like happy
it
Ewoks,
ends-
not dead
Yeah.
and slaughtered Ewoks.
Exactly,
no,
and
they
it
were
ends
pretty
on
cheerful.
press A to... and that's it, that's how it finishes. You're like,
Because I love the Ewoks cartoons as a kid. That's the kind of Star Wars experience I like. That's why I haven't played Battlefront. It's like, you can't play as an Ewok.
you
I'm
could
not
shoot
playing
an
this.
Ewok, though.
Huh?
You could shoot at the Ewok.
I don't want to shoot an Ewok. I want to be an Ewok. Yes, mate. I want. I just thought the best idea: Ewok expansion in The Sims.
Sold.
Yeah,
No, wait, day one.
You can live in a
Pre-order.
tree
We would
house.
pre-order that as well.
I would. That would get me through the door. I would buy that expansion. I might like tweet at EA.
Yeah. EA, here's a good way to make money.
Yeah.
Do this.
From
Does,
one buyer. Just
Does The Sims
Copy and paste.
allow you to have mods on Xbox?
It doesn't, unfortunately.
Oh.
Ewok Village in The Sims. This is like a multi-million
Absolutely
pound
sold.
idea.
Absolutely
Yeah, I'm gonna
sold.
tweet at EA.
Rather than, playing the piano, you'd be like, I'm just going to sharpen this spear.
Yeah, sorted. Yeah. Playing the Stormtrooper
Oh my
helmet.
god,
Yeah,
that'd
practice
be so cute.
practice rolling at some slingshot around my head.
I think that's brilliant because they have Star Wars stuff in like costumes, don't they? In like Sims, so
I haven't paid for those expansions.
I would imagine they've got to.
yeah.
Surely they
So-
should.
So it's like
Why have the
like,
license and
put
not use
Ewoks.
it?
Yeah, EA brought Star Wars and went, how can we put this in everything we own?
Yeah, definitely.
How many years of the license have they got left? Like 4? Ewok, village
Half.
expansion. They have to do it.
Yeah,
They have
definitely.
to do
No
it.
question.
Why haven't
Well,
they done it?
Plants vs Zombies vs Ewoks. That's next as well.
So haven't everyone was talking about Disney taking the license away from EA and not putting Ewoks and everything, but haven't they just re-established like a gaming arm? They haven't called it Lucas Arts. They've called it like Lucas Games or something like that.
I thought they were. It actually turned out that they were just like consultants for whoever's developing a. Star
Oh,
Wars game.
really? So
Basically,
they are
that's
just
what I
like
thought
came out.
so. There's just like 5 people who come under the heading like Lucas Games, who
Yeah.
essentially walk into every Star Wars based game and go, "No,
Yeah.
that's wrong. It would be this. You need to
Yeah.
do this. This
Darth
is
Vader
not the
can't
kind
wear
of
a
right
party
thing."
hat, yeah.
Right. Because obviously George Lucas, there's the whole story behind 1313 about how George Lucas essentially went, "This game's now going to be about Boba Fett."
Yeah.
And they went, "Put it. Oh, okay, all right, fine."
Yeah.
And he just like sweeps in and decides different things. So Disney now have that team. Brilliant.
That's useful.
Tweet at them about Ewoks. They're the ones that clearly make the decisions.
Now that I have this idea, there's nothing that's going to shake it now. I want Dino Crisis to come back, and I want an Ewok village expansion in The Sims. And I'll die a happy woman.
You may get those one day. Hopefully you live a long life to actually see those things. Because I think there might be a little way away. But one day you'll see. I'm sure
I'll
someone's made
make
a mod.
my own Ewok village.
Exactly. You could do
farming
that.
sim.
You can do that.
Yeah, I know how to program. Of course I do.
Yeah. Just copy and paste the save as. Save as.ps.xbox One. Easy. Yeah.
Done.
Just be like a crappy little JPEG of like me joining Microsoft Paint.
You'll be a
That's
millionaire
wild.
overnight, mate. Better than anyone's ever done before.
Sorted.
So, that probably rounds up our topics and our discussions for this week. So, we come to our beers of the week. I'm going to go from left to right. Lucy, you've had 2 beers. Which was your favourite?
Yeah, I mean the Siren West Coast IPA, no biggie, was just that. It's no biggie. It's very standard, like well balanced IPA. Didn't really do much for me. It was a nice beer. I finished it quite quickly, but yeah, I think the winner today is definitely the Whiplash beer. I'm a massive fan of their beers. They packed a ton of flavour into like 2.8% ABV beer. It started off quite soft on the taste and the mouthfeel, but then the hoppiness came towards the end, left that on your palate. Bitter, piney finish, nice and fruity, getting all those tropical citrus fruits flavour. Yeah, it's really good beer. So, Northern Lights Micro IPA.
Nice.
Nice.
Good. Alex, you've had 3 beers. I think I can guess which one it is.
Yeah, the shocker one out of all three, black lager from Northern Ireland. It's still going. It's exceptional. It's really shocked me how good it is. The carbonation is definitely higher than with an ale, but it's not up there with most lagers, so it's perfectly palatable. It's a good beer. It is good. The fact it seems to bridge the gap quite well between lager and ale just makes it all the better. I'd definitely get this one again if I see it. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, it sounded like an experiment that went right over the porter with juniper and spruce tips.
Maybe not next time, mate.
Yeah.
Too busy worrying if they, rather than thinking about whether they should.
Yes.
Yeah. But definitely this one, spot on, really good.
Good. For me this week, it's a little bit difficult. Two beers that are very different styles. The Final Pulse from Wylam was a very good IPA, really nice, easily drinkable, had a lot kind of going on in those tropical flavours. As I said, it was nice and juicy, and then it just dragged that back down to a slightly duller, a little bit, tiny little bit, sort of like, not a sour, but it kind of pulls those flavours back as a sour would. And just really nice, like a melon forward kind of bit. The Cloudwater and Against the Grain stupid name beer is a really beautiful dark ale that built a lot more as you drank it, that it gave you a little bit more of that kind of like that bourbon barrel smokiness that you almost expect the alcohol burn, but it isn't quite there because obviously there isn't that much alcohol in it, so you don't get that burn, but the flavour and the mouthfeel still keep you up at that level. And I think maybe for that reason the Cloudwater Against the Grain beer kind of picks it this week, just because it's complex and it's getting across a lot and doing it really well. I mean, the Wylam IPA is really nice. It's a good IPA that I would drink again. I just think the Cloudwater Against the Grain is maybe just that little notch above, perhaps. It's just that little bit more exceptional. Just really well made, and it's doing a hell of a lot. It's not a beer that, if you just want like juicy IPAs, it's not a beer for you. But if you like complex beers that are doing different things, and you like to explore different flavours and different tastes, and you want variety from your beers, it is kind of like a must buy, really. We've seen a very slight resurgence. We were talking about it last week, like the idea of like the traditional ale, or the kind of like the English ale is kind of disappearing a little bit. This Cloudwater is doing that, but it's doing it on another level. So it is definitely, for me, I would buy it again tomorrow if I was going to the bottle shop. Definitely.
Nice.
It does suit maybe darker, colder nights, and so maybe is a month late for me to kind of like be drinking it, for anyone to drink it really, but really good.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot going on with that. Yeah. Made you think.
Exactly. Makes you think. There we go. So, if you, listener, would like to talk to us, we are at tackedupcast@gmail.com. No, tackedupcast. I don't fucking know what it is. Tackedupcast@gmail.com.
Well, the deal's
That's
not
email.
here, so
at
I don't know.
_cast on Twitter. I was going to do the email first. I'm like, no one fucking emails us. At @_cast on Twitter. Are we at @_cast on Instagram as well? We have been very, no, it's just @cast on Instagram.
We're good millennials.
Yes, we're trying to be everywhere. It's not really working being everywhere, but we are almost everywhere. I am at Nova_47, almost everywhere. Lucy, you are Juicy Loose 9. Almost everywhere. Hooray.
Just everywhere now. Everywhere
now.
Yeah, I've changed my legal name to Jesus 9.
And with PSN updates, I'm now changing my name to Lucy Juice 9. Just to confuse everybody. Alex.
I
What are you?
am.
How do people get hold of you? Are you different things everywhere?
So, I tried. I'm Telly Alex on Twitter, Telly Alex on Xbox, and Telly-Alex on PSN as of about 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yes, somebody stole my name. I nearly went for the Who Stole My Name suffix on the
Nice.
end of Telly Alex, but I decided against that one. So yeah, Telly Alex on there. Switch 011899988119991197225.
Oh right, he's I was like, what? You know you're going.
No, if you want my Switch code, tell me on one of the other ones, not tell you.
Standard response from all of us for the.
I almost
the
had a
Switch
heart
codes.
attack. I was like, who knows this information? Oh my god.
Oh dear. Obviously, everyone should go to outoflives.net and look at all of the articles, listen to all of the podcasts, Tanked Up and Glorious Movie Show, that go out currently. There's lots of articles that go out. We've got various reviews going up. Lee's written a load of stuff you should go and look at. I've got a review coming out next week at some point. And I had a review, as we mentioned in the last episode, for Islanders last week as well, which is like a super meditative game. I almost talked about it this week. But go and read my review instead. Lazy, non-reading people. Loose.
I listen to things, I don't read them anymore.
That's it.
Good.
Maybe we need to
Dated.
move into the medium where we don't do written reviews anymore. We just dictate and just release it as a podcast instead. People haven't got time to read things.
That's what IGN do.
They
they
I suppose, yeah, with their video reviews, yes.
Yeah.
No, they have like on podcast service to like just people reading the review
Do they?
word for word. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's one of the things that I really liked. That Waypoint have stopped doing it, but Waypoint used to do. They would read the review or read an opinion piece or an article about something like super prescient, and then have like an hour conversation around it between a few of them.
Right.
And they were brilliant. I used to love those podcasts more than the general like, hey, we've been playing these things, let's talk about them kind of podcast, because they used to get like super deep dive into
Yeah,
things.
they do. They really do. Waypoint doing good stuff over there.
They always
I wish
do.
I had
Yep.
more time to listen to them. I only now and then catch an episode.
As we've said, none of us have time to do fucking anything.
No, and I'm not even working at the moment, and I still don't have time to do anything. Because I end up just doing random stuff. Like today, I just started. I was like typed into Google old Lego magazines. I just started looking at Lego catalogs from like 1998, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember. I was just like,
Yeah.
that's why I don't
Brilliant.
get time for anything.
Oh, I'm glad you have that time.
You
on
remember
your hands.
Aquazone? Oh,
We can all
cool.
live vicariously through you. So, Alex, have you got anything you'd like to finish on?
I don't think I can beat old Lego catalogs, to be honest with you. So I'll just piggyback on that one.
Brilliant. So,
Maybe I just need that hit of nostalgia in childhood.
yes, that's it. That's it. Watch Star Wars, mate. It'll be fine.
Yeah, there was a Lego Star Wars. I think they're celebrating an anniversary now. I had quite
Are
a few
they?
of those prequel sets. I don't know why, because it's like I've never seen those films. The Lego look cool.
Lego's always cool. If you want to know more about Avengers Endgame, there's some Lego sets that came out, or no, it didn't come out, but have been revealed. To give a little bit, maybe, about the sets. So, for another thing to put on your Chrome extension about blocking stuff, don't fucking look at Lego. You don't want to know anything about the new
I
Avengers
saw a
game.
Chrome extension that changed SJW to skeleton, and I was seriously considering downloading.
And then just super
Skeletons.
confused the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. SJW just gets changed to human. Yes, brilliant.
Yes, yeah.
The human said this. Excellent. So, with that, for another week, we have been Tanked Up. Bye-bye.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
Ciao
Ciao.
from a deal across the pond.
He's frozen in a block of ice. He can't say ciao.
He just can't wait until that Star Wars game is out, so he just froze himself like Cartman. So, He's in Colorado right now.
Just like this.
Yeah.
Just waiting for it.